All right. Good lunch. Praise Yah. Yeah. Good day. For those who don't know, I'm Kyle. I'm one of the board members of Kaleb House. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for being here. Is that better? Okay. My name is Kyle. I'm one of the board members for Kaleb House. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. Spirit's already moving, for sure. So I get the privilege of introducing my brother, Bug Out Bob Actual. Bob is the Chief Operations Officer for Refuge Medical, with a history of contracting for private security sector. His storied past, and he's good at telling stories, reflects discipline, tenacity, and fearless love for the body of Messiah. I ran down here and I'm out of breath. I obviously need to do more PT. When not working for the kingdom, Bob's one hope for speaking is that young men of Elohim hear him and prepare. With that, I welcome my friend, my brother, Bug Out Bob. Woohoo! And of course, he's late to his own speaking event. Bob, where are you? Bob. Bob. I think Bob ran away. So, what brought everybody here? Since I'll fill in for Bob. I didn't hear you. The Spirit. Anybody else? His car. Hey, that's a straightforward answer right there. That's a straightforward answer. Y'all, one reason I got involved with Kaleb House was we were on deployment in Idabel, and cleaning up Idabel was just a mess. So we got there, Spirit was just moving heavy. T was there, Bob was there, Kale was there. I was like, hey, I want to get more involved. What do? They're like, you're on the board. Okay. What is a board? I got a 2x4 in the pickup. Does that count? Right? A year and a half later. Hey, we have rules and stuff now. So I think I saw Bob walk in. All right, everybody. Bob! You were late. I already introduced
you. I don't know if we're on. Can you guys hear me? Exactly. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Speak from the diaphragm! That's what they say, right? Hi, guys. My name is Bob. I'm here to talk to you about some stuff today, and we're going to have a pretty serious conversation, and I'm primarily addressing the men. So if you are a woman, you're more than welcome to be here. I love it. But this speech is not to you. This is to the men. All right? So before we get going, let's bow and pray, shall we? Holy Heavenly Father, Yah, you are good. You are absolutely sovereign. You are breathtaking. You are astonishing. I pray that you would just guide our time here right now, that I would be fit as a broken vessel to speak to these people. Would you just use this to minister to you, Yeshua? You're the whole point. I pray that somebody gets closer to you. It's in your name. Amen. All right. So, just so we're all clear here, I used to do public speaking professionally. When I was 18 years old, I dropped out of high school. I became a professional actor. All right? I stood up on stage and I talked to people. I professionally had sex with people on stage. I used this gift for speech, for abhorrent wickedness. I sang songs that glorified false idols. The last musical that I was in won a Broadway Worldwide Award for. It was also about the first 5 books of the Bible. Could you believe it? I wasn't ready to hear it. put all that stuff away. I decided I was no longer going to do that, and I went into a different stage of my life. My drug use, my alcohol abuse, it became rampant. Spirits had overtaken me 100%. Just so we're all clear here, men, if you think that spirits are something inside of a movie, you need to wake up. All right? This book talks about them. It's not a mistake. It is not just a metaphor. I was overtaken by spirits and was driven far away from the King. Far, far away. And as far as I ran, he would still chase me. Isn't that crazy? How many of you have been chased by the Most High? Gosh, how humbling is that? The God of the universe who created stars and sand and water and wind would look at you and say, would you please come back to the flock? Stop running away, you stupid little sheep. Has anybody here ever chased a sheep before? Yeah. There's people that are laughing right now as they're raising their hand because, boy, is it challenging. They don't look like they can run as fast as they do. And they definitely don't look as round as they can get, that they should be able to jump as high as they jump. But even as you're chasing these sheep, they'll jump clear over a grown man's shoulders. It's impressive. The other day I was at work. We were getting ready for this event, if you could believe it. And I got a call from my wife. My wife says, hey, babe, the sheep are out. We have a new flock. Okay? This is important because it's the new flock that's been gotten out, right? And this new flock had escaped. And me being a shepherd, right? Learning from other brothers who are shepherds and learning from the shepherd, I immediately drop what I'm doing and I run to my sheep. Because my sheep are out. They're in danger, right? Who wouldn't do that? I'm driving and my wife calls again and she goes, babe, I can't handle it anymore. These stupid sheep. I just want to shoot them. I hate them. They won't go in the paddock. What is happening there? She's crying to me. She's very emotional. Now, mind you, she is 8 months pregnant. So, there is some of that, but there also is the frustration that exists when you love something so much and it runs from you. Makes me think a lot about our good shepherd and how often have we ran from him. So, I get to the property, I grab a good brother because that's just, what brothers are all for. I call him up. He's like, hey, you want to shoot a new suppressed gun? And I was like, I would love to shoot a suppressed gun. Would you like to help me tackle sheep? And he's like, I guess I would. And so we hop in the truck, we drive to my house, I pull up, I run up, and I immediately call out to my sheep, and I can hear my elder flock respond to me. They know my voice, okay? And I call to these newer flock, right? I call out, hey, sheep, 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 sheep. And they come out of the brush. They come to me. They recognize my voice, but they do not have a firm foundation in our relationship. So they see me and they run. Game on, right? Absolutely. So we're trying to set up paddocks really quickly. We're thinking about, well, maybe if you cut them off with the side-by-side and then I come around the side, it gets to the point where all we know what to do is quickly, one of us drives the side-by-side, the other one sits in the passenger seat. You'll run us up to the flock. We'll jump out. We will literally chase them down and tackle them into the dirt. We did that with the first 3 out of the 6 that had escaped, right? It's interesting, after you had exhausted these sheep and you tackled them into the dirt, they submitted. How many of you guys have been exhausted by what the Father has thrown at you up until the point that he tackles you into the dirt and you know nothing but submitting? I know I have, right? It's this interesting point. I'm looking at this sheep as me and my brother are holding it down, and it's looking at me like, just kill me. Just end it. I think I'm going to die. Meanwhile, I'm laughing in my head because I'm like, you idiot, I'm here to save you. I have grain for you. I have treats for you. I have fresh water for you. There's great new grass right there in front of you. The paddock that you're moving to is this beautiful new pasture, and it's all for you. Would you just listen? Would you stop thinking that you know best? I know you're new at this whole being in this flock thing. I know it's probably confusing. You see the ones that are experienced over there, we hang out all the time. That ram, he comes right up to me, I pet him, we joke around, it's a good time. But you're not there yet. There's more rapport, there's more work, there's more trust that's involved. How many of you are new in your faith under a year? Raise your hand. Yeah. What about under 5 years? Yep. Under a decade. Wow. You think about this, right? This word here, and we're going to get into this because this is way better at talking than I am, in all honesty. This word tells us that we are a new creation when we come into Christ. Something new. That means that I'm about 4 years old. Anybody here ever have a 4-year-old? Pretty agreeable, right? Very easy to manage. They always listen to you. They definitely always obey, right? And I laugh because, we get so hard on ourselves. We especially as men, right? We hold ourselves to these absolutely impossible standards. And you know what's crazy? It is never the standard of this word. It is always the standard that someone out there in the world has set. Why is that? If I could just get the house that's the 3-bed, 2-bath. If I could just build the vaulted canopies this way. If the pastor could just look like this. If I could just get my wife to come and do this. All these things that we get caught up in regards to the world, rather than saying, if I could just read this book and understand it a little bit deeper every day. I share this story with you because we are all sheep, correct? We got to interact here. Are we all sheep? Yes. Amen, right? We're part of the flock. We're part of the tree of Israel. And so with that, we have a good shepherd. Our good shepherd is vehemently chasing us down. I am here to tell you, my brothers, that there are wolves in the land. And that the time is getting serious. And so if we are to be in his flock, we must understand what that means. So we're going to crack the book. We're going to look at what is a man in creation and what do his taught ones give us as instruction. Because it's really not that complicated. If you can believe it, we are the ones that often get in the way. I know, it's shocking. If you have a Bible, you can flip it open. We're going to go right to Genesis. Pretty easy little flip right there. It's in Genesis 1. So he put it way back there, so that way you could miss it. It's in Genesis 1. We're going to start in line 26. All right? This book says, and Elohim said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the livestock, and over the earth, and over every creeping creature that creeps on the ground. And Elohim created the man in his image. In the image of Elohim, he created him. Male and female, he created them. And Elohim blessed them. And Elohim said to them, be fruitful and increase, fill the earth, subdue it, rule over the fish of the sea, rule over the birds of the heavens, and over all the creeping creatures of the earth. And Elohim said, see, I have given you every plant that yields seed on the face of the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed. For you it is food. And every beast of the earth, and every bird of the heaven, and every creeping creature on the earth, in which there is a living being, every green plant is for food. And it came to be. And Elohim saw all that he had made, and see, it was very good. That's not just good there. That's very good. So he made man to pay bills. Well, hold on now. That's not in there. He made man to work out and make weight. Nope, I'm not seeing that in there either. He made man to have the fastest 1v1 times, to be great at CQB, to have the brand new truck. I'm not seeing any of that in here. He called man to rule and subdue for him, in his image, in his likeness. That was very good. So that's what a man is, right? We can all agree right there that per the word, that's what it says. There was nothing about trucks or bills or anything like that in there, okay? All right. We're going to go back a little bit. We're going to go to 1 Thessalonians 5. I don't know if you guys have read 1st and 2nd Thessalonians. I highly recommend that you do. I also recommend you read this whole book, personally. So you go to 1 Thessalonians 5. Can we all agree right now that there are trying times? The enemy is running rampant. Just so we're clear, we're all here raising money because men have decided to rape children. Okay? Yes, the fellowship is beautiful. Yes, the baptisms are breathtaking. We are here to fight wickedness. That's why we're here. Right? All right. Let's get into this. Now, brothers, as to the times and the seasons, you do not need to be written to them. Basically saying, hey, I don't have to tell you what's going on right now. Right? For you yourselves know very well the day of Yahweh comes as a thief in the night. Amen? For when they say peace and safety, right? Then suddenly destruction comes upon them as labor pains upon a pregnant woman, and they shall not escape. But you, brothers, are not in darkness. How many of you feel like you're in darkness right now? Overtaken by the wickedness of this world at times. I know I am. I know I struggle with it. You see it everywhere. It's thrown in your face. You can't open up one of these stupid social medias without some sort of abhorrent thing in front of you. Whether it's a woman being lustful, whether it's money and greed, whether it's items of this world. It's a battle. Praise Yahweh, we get to pick up our stake and follow him. Right? We'll keep going here. But you, brothers, are not in darkness, but in this day, so that in this day should overtake you as a thief. For you are all sons of light and sons of the day. We are not of the night, nor of the darkness. So then we should not sleep as others do, but we should watch and be sober. Right? For those who sleep, they sleep at night, and those who get drunk are drunk at night. But we are of the day. We who are of the day should be sober, putting on the breastplate of belief and love, and as a helmet, the helmet of expectation of deliverance. Listen, it is very easy for all of us right now to fall into this world. We can get distracted. Drunkenness doesn't necessarily mean alcohol, right? Be cautious of that spirit, my brothers. Seriously. It doesn't just mean marijuana. Be cautious of that spirit. You can be just as drunk on your iPhone as you can on the liquor. I have watched people throw hours upon hours a day away, gone. For what? For what did it do for you? Have you guys ever done the quick math on a year for your screen time? Raise your hand if you have a smartphone. All right. Raise your hand if you have a smartphone on you. All right. Raise your hand if you have a gun on you. Okay? Raise your hand if you're carrying a hard Bible right now. That's weird. That's weird. What is the sword of the Spirit? The word right here. Are we at battle or not? No. We are. I appreciate the enthusiasm. We're at spiritual battle. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and the governors and the authorities, right? Of the dark, wicked, spiritual places. We have the coolest weapon in the world. The story of it, right here. And yet we leave it on the nightstand. Guilty. Guilty. I got 4 of these fingers pointing right back at me, boys. All right? Comma, we should admonish one another, correct? A brother is built for adversity, and we are living in adverse times. It is just that simple, right? Let us not get caught up inside of the technology and the speed and the busyness of this world that we forget such simple things as being sons of light. For we have a job, right? We have a very simple job. Messiah gave us a job. He gave us a commission, which is a huge overarching task. Such a commission that it's forever been referred to as the Great Commission. To go through all the nations, making disciples, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. Now, if we are going to go and make disciples, that is spiritual war. Right there, plain and simple, cut and dry, right? They will hate you for it. How many of you have been hated for your faith? How many of you have felt alone because of your faith? Keep them up. Look around. Don't you understand that there are thousands of men that have not bent the knee to Baal? You're not alone. There's a season for all things. The Father did not make a mistake with your schedule. What you're doing on Thursday was not a surprise to the guy who created the stars, guys, okay? He wasn't like, oh, I meant for Bill to have a friend there. Ah, dang it. That's not how it works. No matter what the TV says, God's not up there going, oh shoot. That's not how it works. He is sovereign. And so if he has you walking through a task without a brother physically next to you, someone is praying for you. And the Spirit and Messiah are walking with you. Guys, if the creator of the universe is for us, who? Who could be against us? It doesn't matter the cartel. It doesn't matter the evil, wicked authority. It doesn't matter the governance. It doesn't matter the false religion. It doesn't matter the SHTF possible scenario that's going to take me out, bro. No. Stop. You're sons of light. How many of you think about the dark room when you flip the switch and the light comes on? You're not sitting there as the light's on like, wow, that was really dark before I hit that switch. That's crazy. That was a really impressive thing. No, the light is just on. It is. You are to be, right? Because you are a creation that is what? Very good. How many of you have said a sentence like, I am so stupid? Okay. What about, I am so lazy? Okay. What about, I am a mistake? Okay. Does anybody know what his name is? It's the I am, right? So we're going to speak his name, and then all those negative connotations right after. We're going to say, Yahuwah is lazy. Yahuwah is a mistake? No. Yahuwah rebuked that. When we put those things on ourselves, we're disdaining the very creation that he, in this book, we all read it together, said is very good. Anybody here smarter than God? You didn't think so. I'm glad we're all on the same page there. But yet, when we get in our flesh, which, guys, I'm just as guilty of suffering with this as the next guy, we for some reason forget these things. And we start to allow the flesh to devour itself to the point where we will not just blaspheme his name, we'll also blaspheme his word, which he is his word, which is blaspheming Yeshua. Because he's the word made flesh, right? And he says we're very good, and I'm so bad. No, fool. Stop. Read this word. Believe it. It's true. I promise. We're going to keep going just a little bit here in 1 Thessalonians. We're going to go down just a little bit. In 5:11, it says, "Therefore encourage one another and build up one another, as indeed you do. But brothers, we beg you to know those who labor among you and are over you in the master and admonish you, and to hold them in the highest regard and love because of their work. Be at peace among yourselves. And we appeal to you, brothers, warn those who are disorderly. Encourage the faint-hearted. Uphold the weak. Be patient with all." Does any of that say be silent? Does any of that say tolerate lawlessness? We're supposed to be a light. He didn't just call us a light. He said we're to be put on a lampstand, up high where everyone can see. Don't put it under a basket. You have this very good gift, this very good blessing, this very good promise laid throughout this whole book. How many people have been intimidated to witness about Messiah? I know I have. I have struggled with that. Oh, I couldn't do that. I'm not Pastor Joe. I've said it. I've said that sentence. I'm not TJ. I'm not Bear from the internet. I'm not this pastor. I'm not that pastor. You are a pastor. Because it just said it right there. Right? It says to hold them in the highest regard, love them because of their work, be peace among others. And we appeal to you, brothers, warn those who are disorderly. Warn them. Why would we warn them? Because we know what happens if they continue. We know the promises of this book, right? You have two rewards. You can reap one of them, right? And you cannot be in the middle. It says, encourage the faint-hearted. I get faint-hearted all the time. I got multiple brothers in here that encourage me so much, sometimes they don't even know that they're doing it. And it's very frustrating. Because they just say stuff, and they're like, well, Bob, have you ever thought about this? And I'm like, well, I'm just struggling with that deep and emotionally right now, so get away from me. I'm sure it's a coincidence that that was what was put on their heart, right? Or were they walking in the Spirit? Were they being obedient? Were they staying in their word? And because that's where their focus was, that's the word they decided at that point to let leave their lips. Because you have a couple of options with these things, right? It's not what goes into a man that defiles the man, but what comes out from the man that defiles the man, right? And just so we're all clear here, guys, that's not about food, okay? But doesn't mean you can go eat a leather boot. So stop arguing with me about it. But rather, it's about life and death exists on the tongue. It is a sharp, double-edged blade in which you can use it for the sword of the Spirit, or you can use it to curse others and break down people and be divisive and hurt. Anybody being hurt by someone in the faith? Yeah, me too. Me too. It's crazy how us humans are human. You guys been able to forgive them? Right? Because that's part of this process as well, right? we're going to get hurt. Physically, emotionally, mentally, right? Spiritually. Otherwise, we would need not forgive. It wouldn't have been such a focus for him. It's important for us to have to bear with one another in love. I've struggled with my brothers here recently to the point where I'm like, man, I can't stand that guy, comma, I love him because he loves him. And what in my ego, what in my flesh, what in this messed up, broken vessel is getting in the way of it, right? See, being a man of Elohim is not rah, rah, pick up the sword, let's go and defeat the giants in the land. It absolutely has a part of that. It's definitely not the sweater-wearing, soft man hiding behind the pulpit. But we can get so pulled in that opposite direction that I have 3 Glock mags on me, but I don't have the word. And I'm not going to get into a gunfight today, Yah willing. I am going to get in some sort of spiritual conflict. It's going to happen. Whether it's internal, whether it's external, it doesn't matter. Because this is the day that the Father has made. And he has made me to be light. So if he's made me to be light, that means that I am supposed to go out and remove darkness. Right? Otherwise, why make the light in the first place? There's no point. Right? If there's no darkness, there's no need for light. But there is darkness. So he has a very real need for you as sons. How many of you have a son? I have a son. I have a young son, little baby. He's awesome. He's really dumb. But he's a baby. So that kind of tracks. Right? I have this son, and I've been thinking a lot. I don't have a good earthly father. I don't. I've tried to witness to him, and it's been a task, guys. It's been a real task. I've tried to come at him 75 different ways with that gospel, and he just does not want to hear it. So I've thought a lot about recently, what does it mean to raise up a son of Elohim? Truly, what are the traits? What are the attributes? What are the characteristics of a man who is chasing the Father? Because that's what we all should be doing, right? We shouldn't be chasing our wife's will. We shouldn't be chasing our brothers. We shouldn't be chasing the world. We should be chasing the Father. And with that, awesome people are going to surround you, and beautiful things are going to be happening, and it's just breathtakingly cool. And sometimes it's impossibly hard, and it's absolutely terrifying, and everything is up against you. But then again, hey, you're chasing the Father. So he's going to provide for you, right? Right? Okay. So thinking about my son, trying to figure out what's the direction that I can give him, right? How do I lead this boy who doesn't even speak yet in things that, honestly, guys, I was never taught? You look at the scribes, you look at the Pharisees, the Sadducees, you look at the kings of old, they would study the Torah for 70 years before putting it in their own hand. Oh, guys, I don't got 70 years left, I'll just be honest with you. Right? That'd make me like 120, and I don't think it's going to happen. So what do I do? Right? Well, I read the words of Messiah and I do them. Right? I listen to his commands and I do them. It's actually much simpler, like I said before. Right? So what is the direction that I give my son? It's this. It's very, very simple because of all these things that are happening. Ephesians 6. We've all heard it a million times, and we're going to hear it one more time today. For the rest of my brothers, be strong in the Master and in the mightiness of his strength. Does that say just be strong? No, it says be strong in the Master, right? Be strong in the Master and in the mightiness of his strength. Okay? Put on the complete armor of Elohim. Is that 2 parts? 4 parts? Just half, maybe a quarter? No. The complete armor of Elohim. For you have the power to stand against the schemes of the devil. Not his workers, not like a little minion mini guy. No, the guy. You have the power to stand against the works of the devil. Because we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, right? We know who won. We get to revive. Joke's on you. I got an extra one, right? You can't kill me, all right? We do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against authorities, against the rulers and the darkness of this age, against spiritual matters of wickedness in the heavenlies. Because of this, take up the complete armor of Elohim, so that you have the power to withstand in the wicked day, and having done all, to stand. How do you have the power? You put on the complete armor. He says it right there. And yet we just look at that and we go, well, I probably should have the shield of faith. Make sure I'm carrying my shield today, brothers. No, fool. Stop. The complete armor. How many of you have a chest rig or a plate carrier? Right? There we go. Heck yeah. That's right. Very cool, very cool. I bet some of you guys brought it with you. Who has your plate carrier with you? Yep, that's what I thought. I love you. You're my own people, right? We don't forget that. We would never forget the level 3 plus and the level 4 plates. Can't do that. I'm leaving town. It's a dangerous world. Every day we walk out that house not having the complete armor on. Why is that? Why do we have this disconnect? When we know, it says it right there, we wrestle not against the flesh and blood. I say this having my plate carrier in my truck, knowing still that when I woke up this morning, I was worshiping in tears. Because all of you are here. Not for plate carriers, but for the word, for the truth, for good works, to help people, to serve others, to help kids, children. You can hear them back there in the corner. Makes me smile. I see a 4-year-old boy right here. It's awesome. That's awesome. Who cares about these physical armor, this physical helmet, and all this stuff if we are not even protected against the schemes of the devil, let alone be able to stand against it? Because that's the promise there, that we would have the power. And by the way, you do have the power. It's yours. It's a gift. He gave it to you. And by the way, he didn't give it to you just like, hey, Jim, here's the power. Thanks so much, bro. No, he went up onto a tree, and he hung there, and he choked on his own blood, and he cried out, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. And he did that so that you would have that power. Not so that we could write it off. Not so that we could chalk it up to, I just don't know what to say to that guy. I don't know what to say to Bill. I'm trying, I just don't feel like witnessing today. Who cares? He did not feel like dying, guys. If you read that book, he went into the garden and he was struggling. He was struggling. He's sweating blood. He's saying, Father, please, if you could just take this cup and let it pass from me. But your will, not mine. And then he went back to his brothers to try to get some encouragement because he's like, I got to go check out my bros. My bros would probably be like, you're great, Messiah. We love you. And they're asleep. They're not even doing what he asked them to do. It's like, you foolish generation. You can't even just stay awake and keep watch. And so what did he do? He struggled again. He went back and he said, Father, please, if you could, if it would be your will, would you take this cup and let it pass from me? But your will, not mine. Right? And we have the audacity to sit here and second guess his commitment and his promise and his gift to us, sons. How many of you would lay your life down for your son? Wouldn't think about it, just would do it. It's what he did. It's the only way he could be just and holy. Because he's a good, just God. There's sin in the world. Someone needs to be punished. I love them. I will take the heat. So the attributes. We're going to stand against the complete power, right? It says, because of this, take up the complete armor of Elohim so that you have power to withstand in that wicked day, having done all to stand. So stand then, having girded your waist with truth, having put on the breastplate of righteousness, having fitted your feet with the preparation of the good news of peace, above all, having taken up the shield of belief, which you shall have the power to quench all the burning arrows of the enemy. Take also the helmet of deliverance and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Elohim. This is the part that people leave out right here. Praying at all times, with all prayer and all supplication in the Spirit, watching in the perseverance and supplication for the set-apart ones. We get so caught up in having our sword. I'm going to memorize 60 verses today. Okay, but do you believe 2 verses today? Have you sat and prayed in the Spirit on 1 verse? Not even 1 verse. Let's go half a verse. How about half a word? Have we done that? And use that strength that we get from this book, not us, not from TJ, right? Not from PJ, not from Zach Bauer, not from some other internet person, not from your pastor at your church, not from your mom, not from your dad, not from your wife, but from him. Have we focused on the gift that he has gave us? See, I'm trying to figure out how do I tell my 8-month-old son, I'm so sorry that they're trafficking children your age and that they're cutting them up and selling their body parts. I'd much rather him be so versed in this word that he already knows that's happening because he's at war with it. Because there's nothing new under the sun. Read the first 5 books. Moloch doesn't have any new playing books, any new tricks, any new cards. He's doing the same stuff. The only difference is men of Israel used to go and rebuke them to the points where the prophet would go to the prophets of Baal and laugh at him, troll him even. Maybe your God is in the bathroom. It's one of my favorite lines. Trolling is on the menu, boys. It is. Come on, we don't have the boldness to read our own word for ourselves some days. So if we don't have the boldness to read the word for ourselves, what makes us think for a second that we're going to be able to go out against the prophets of false gods? By the way, guys, prophets of false gods exist. They're very, very real. You are at war with them, by the way, whether you want to realize it or not. That world in which you are at enmity with is the world that encourages such idolatrous behavior. Why do you think you're at enmity with it? Because you have been created in his image, which was what? Very good. And so all this darkness exists, and it's permeating through the world. What am I going to do about it? Go be light. You want to know what's really funny about the Refuge Ruckus? It was a joke TJ and I made having steak sandwiches 15 minutes away. We were sitting there joking. Like, you know what we should do? We should get a bunch of homies, and we should get a bunch of flags, and we should ruck downtown, one of the big cities in the U.S., and just wave a flag and a middle finger to pedophiles. And it would be even funnier if, like, we baptized people there. It'd be even funnier if we read the word. That would be awesome. And we sat there, we kept joking for about 5 or 6 minutes, and then we were like, oh shoot. We might have to do this. Guys, we suck. Like, a lot. You guys have all of the strength because your strength is not yours. We just read where the power comes from, right? The power comes from him. It's a free gift. You have the complete armor. You can put it on. You can stand against all, not some, not a couple, not like 5 or 6 and then you'll get tired, but all of the schemes of the wicked one. I wish that there was going to be 100 ruckuses after this. I would be bent down in worship if there was one more. Because the reality is this is one calling, but all of you have a ministry. Raise your hand if there's somebody that comes to mind right now that needs to hear the gospel in your life. Okay, put them down. Raise the hand if there's somebody you know needs to hear the gospel and you haven't told them yet. Wow, what a blessing. What a blessing that we're here right now and we can be honest enough and vulnerable enough with one another to admit such things. Because, brothers, that's a shortcoming. That's a fault. And it's our fault. See, this isn't ours. It's not yours, it's not mine, it's not JT's. It's none of ours. This was a free gift that was given. So freely it has been given, and freely we must go give. We have to. Because we're not going to take this little gift that we have, this beautiful little light, shove it under a basket, cover it with a pillow, and be like, I hope nobody finds out about it. Now, that'd be extremely selfish. Now, what's the point of that gift? What good of a gift is it if you don't even want to tell people about it? Y'all ever got like an awesome gift from your wife and like you have to brag to your friends, right? Or maybe like a gift from a buddy or something like that. I just got to show you this. It's so cool. Could you imagine if we had that same tenacity with the gift of, I don't know, eternal life? That we would share it with people. You are the men. We keep looking around, I feel like, as a country and as believers going, someday these guys are going to step up and they're going to do it and we're going to stand up and say enough's enough. And once they do it, I'm going to get involved and that's when we're going to all step up. And it's like, guys, you are the people you're looking for. You are the difference that needs to be made in your home. You are the difference that needs to be made in your town, in your county, sometimes in your state. You'd be amazed what a difference can make. I've talked to people that traveled days to get here. It was a joke over a steak sandwich. You guys don't understand the impact that the Father can have through you if you would just do. Right? It's the first part of his name. Right? Do. There's work involved. And man, I heard in a book, I read a book once that said that there was like, okay, so there's this guy, right? His wife makes a big mistake. They fall short. They get kicked out of paradise. They were in a really cool place. They get kicked out. He gets cursed, right? With this thing, he's got to do work the rest of his life. He's got to work the ground, work the soil, do all these things. Can't remember the book's name. And anyways, we have that same exact curse, guys. We have work to do. The time for idle hands has stopped. It's just that simple. Because literally people's souls depend on it. The stakes could not be higher. We have an opportunity to watch Messiah go through and shift and change people into new creations. All we have to do is be obedient. Share the gospel of peace. It's in the armor. Have your feet prepared in the preparation of the good news of the gospel of peace. Why? Because that's what you're doing. It's the sword of the Spirit. Somebody comes at you with some nonsense. Use the sword. Yeah, bro, here's the owner's manual. There you go, right? Let's flip it open. Let's look at it. But you guys we can't flip it open if we don't know it. We can't flip it open if we don't have it committed to ourselves, if we're not in prayer on it. So many times, I hear it all the time, and I know a bunch of us do. I wish that God would talk to me. He wrote you 66 books. A love letter. What language would you like it in? What translation? Old English, New English, Hebrew, Greek, Aramaic? We got options. You want to hear God talk to you? Read it out loud. It will be there. It's His Word. So what are the attributes? Somebody who reads this book and does what it says. It really is that simple. Is it going to be an immediate light switch of where all of your problems are going to magically go away? No! Read the book. It doesn't say that. It says you'll be hated and persecuted, that they're going to maim you, flog you in front of congregations. You'll be brought in front of governors. When's the last time any of us has been brought in front of a governor because of our faith? I guess we got work to do. That's the thing, guys, is the times are upon us. Wickedness is rampant. And just so we're all clear, this word says, do not be dismayed when you see the day approaching. Rejoice. Lift your head up, for your redemption draweth nigh. Dude, I think the world's ending. Messiah's coming back. I hope so. I'm betting my whole life on it. Isn't that what we all want? Is the king to return? And aren't we preparing his troops, his family? Aren't we watering his tree until he does? And if you're not, you should start. Because I'd hate to know that this book is true and not do it and be stagnant, be inactive. What's a word for it? There's a word. Lukewarm. That was the word he used. I would hate for the king to vomit me out of his mouth. Not because I was some evil, evil man. It's because I knew the truth and did nothing about it. I took my talent and I went and buried it because I knew he was a serious God. No, he gave you the talent to do something awesome with. So, each of you have a promise. Each of you have a gift. Each of you have been given this word. And if you don't have a word, go ahead and see the good people at Grindstone Ministries. They'll literally give you one for free, right? You have it so that you can do the work. So, we must, as men, admonish each other and do this work. I implore all of you right now to use the time in which we're all together. Get phone numbers. Make connections. Find the people in your community. Find the people who are close to you. Reach out to them. Find the people that are far from you. I've met people that I freaking love. They live hours upon hours away. Just because we have the same king. Now is an amazing time to have fellowship, create bonds, and then have somebody to write a letter to the same way that Saul wrote letters to his brothers, because that's what this is, right? These sections that we were just reading. It's letters to your brothers. Brothers, I love you so much. I heard what you're doing. You're messing up. Brothers, I love you so much. I'm praying for you in the Most High Messiah. Keep doing what you're doing. Why aren't we writing letters? Take this time. Think about the attributes of being a son of Elohim. Think about each other and admonishing one another, building it up, and then go and do. Because that's the promise. I love you all. Thank you very much. TJ, he's going to talk to you guys about stuff. I'm sure he'll be very chill.
Oh, goodness. The gentleman who was supposed to speak to you now, his airplane couldn't keep a schedule, and so now you're stuck with me, and I guess that'll be okay. Who here has felt what it feels like to have the Holy Spirit through Ruach HaKodesh on you? Praise Yah. Who here has felt it today? Praise Yah. Not just another prepper get together. Praise Yah. A microphone that doesn't work. And I also have told one brother today, if I had to speak, there were two things that the Father had put on me. One is the concept of a ministry of one, and the other was the cost of inaction. And then I was blessed to hear my brother Bob speak for an hour eloquently about the two of those things without us having discussed at all confirmation of the Spirit. It's a beautiful thing. I told you all this morning, I get a lot of undue credit. A lot. And that's because I'm the face that you see. I'm the face that you associate with this. Because a lot of the people that are associated with this, you can never see their faces. I can't tell you their names. If I did, I would ruin all the good work that they're doing. And so you're stuck with this. And because of all that undue credit that I get, many people have elevated me to a status that I do not deserve. Pastor Bear, Grindstone Ministries, Kaleb House, Bear Independent, Refuge Medical, Refuge Training, consultancies, has traveled the world, pick a 3-letter agency, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's some relatively cool shit. It does not matter near as much as anything that Bob has just discussed with y'all. And the point that I want to leave you gentlemen with today is I started everything that you see and experience today as a ministry of one. Me and Yah. That was it. And I had to be destroyed as a human being to be low enough that I would shut the hell up and listen to what he was telling me to do. I mean, wrecked as a human being. I am no stranger at all to what a gun tastes like. I have tasted 6 different guns. Substance abuse, check. Pornography, check. Whoring, check. I don't know, probably been in somewhere between 300 and 500 fights, somewhere in there. Luckily, none of them against Dudley. But the Father had to destroy the person that was me so that he could put me back together again. Not that I deserved it, but for his will, to be the person that I needed to be, to step into a position of ministry, to steward his people. So if you find yourself feeling like you've been steamrolled lately, congratulations, you're in good company. To Bob's point, there is no guarantee that this is going to be easy, but there is an eternal guarantee that it will be good. And as men, we cannot conflate easy and good. And I would submit to you that the reason we are in the position we are in as a nation and as a world is because we have conflated easy and good. Good is not easy, easy is not good. And every man has a responsibility, I believe, from the Father to be the person they were created to be, to step into that responsibility that he made you for. In a nutshell, if he didn't need you, why did he make you? Think about that. He's not the author of chaos. He's the author of order. So if he didn't need you, why do you exist? If you don't know the answer to that question, you need to talk to the person that does. His name is Yahweh your Elohim, the Lord your God, and he will tell you. And when he tells you, you only have two options. And this is why very few people ask him. Because once you ask him and he tells you, your options are obedience or disobedience. Deuteronomy 28, obedience brings blessings. Disobedience brings curses. And I don't mean some esoteric, metaphysical, some witch with a cauldron trying to curse you. I mean, if you don't do dumb shit, you will reap dumb shit. Anybody here ever do dumb shit? How'd it work out for you? Not so great. Conversely, anybody here ever do something that was difficult but good? How did it work out for you? It is not man's job to do the easy things. It is man's job to do the hard things. Genesis 1:26, to rule and subdue, and it is very good. Fearfully and wonderfully created in his image. That's us. And all those little lies that the enemy tells you, not good enough, not fast enough, strong enough, smart enough, too fat, don't look good enough, don't have enough money, worthless. That's a big one for me. Worthless has played over and over in my head for decades. It's bullshit. That's not of Yah. And I would submit to you, it's not of you either. It's a third party over here whispering lies into your head to get you off of your game so that you are not serving the creator of the universe, being the man that you were made to be. Which brings us back around to a ministry of one. My brother Bob asked you if there's anybody, if any of you know one person who needs to hear the gospel. I think every hand in this room went up. Accurate? Yes. Accurate? Yes. Thank you. You have vocal cords? Use them. They were not an accident. Promise you. My daughter is 3.5 days old. She has vocal cords. She uses them. Do not be outperformed by a 3.5-day-old girl. Okay? Okay? Thank you. Love you, Bob. All right. Everybody here has the opportunity to be a ministry of one. At a minimum, a ministry of one. You've heard me speak about positions of strength, right? Circles within circles within circles within circles. My primary responsibility as a man and as a man of Elohim is my wife and my children. It is not my job. It is not my ministries. It is not y'all. It's not my brothers. It's not my sisters. And sometimes, because being a husband and a father is hard, we look for other problems to run to. I know my wife's unhappy, but Mayfield, Kentucky got smashed by a tornado. Is there diesel in this steer? I'll be back in a month. Because that's good, but also easy, rather than stay here and steward the beautiful, wonderful daughter of Elohim that I have been given. You ever stop to think about your wife that way? If you haven't, you should. She belonged to Yah before she belonged to you. And she goes back to Yah. She does not go back to you. If you fail to steward her, that's on you. You will be judged at the end of an age for how well you took care of that woman. Your father-in-law is the creator of the universe. Stop and think about that one for a while. And those children that your awesome wife has blessed you with belong to him. If you decide to fearfully and wonderfully raise them up in the way that they should go so they do not depart from it when they are older, that's the minimum standard. Because they came from that. You're just simply perpetuating what Yah gave you in the first place. It's not some high ideal. It's the minimum standard. Does that make sense? Yes. My first circle is my wife and my children. My next circle is my brothers. And then on out from that, business, ministry, people that I've just met. That's positions of strength. And it starts as a ministry of one. How many times have I said to you, I don't care what kind of ham radio you have, because commo is this, right? If you can't talk to your wife, I don't care if you can talk to the space station. Legitimately, I am 0% impressed. If you can't talk to your brother or your children, I'm 0% impressed. Because all this prepper shit is just to perpetuate normalcy. If you haven't established it, you have nothing to perpetuate. Make sense? Yes. Ministry of one, we begin with that. Every one of you, my challenge to you is when you leave here, what's your next step? Action-wise. Who am I talking to? How am I doing it? And pro tip, pray over it. Because the Father will give you an opportunity. Not a coincidence that everybody in this room just happened to be here, correct? Not a coincidence. So if you beseech the creator of the universe, Elohim, he will make a way if your intentions are righteous. And if they're not, doors slam shut. And praise Yah for all the doors that he has slammed shut in my life. The second thing that I wanted to talk to you about is the cost of inaction. To Bob's point, again, synchronicity, the Spirit. If we fail as men, and as men of Elohim, to rise to the standard that he set for us, when he became flesh and died for us, so that we might be redeemed back into the house, so that all of our bullshit won't keep us separated from him eternally. High bar, paid a very high price for us, each one of us individually. If we fail to walk in the steps of Messiah, to heal the brokenhearted, to preach the good news, to flip tables over in the temple when needed, to tie millstones around people's necks, what does that do to your wife? Does it do to your children? Does it do to your community? Does it do to your church, your faith group? One of the best things my pastor did, Pastor Joe, you might be familiar with him, runs a little channel called Viking Preparedness. Great guy. One of the best things he did was step back. And I remember the men in our congregation, we acted like little girls for about 6 weeks. Nobody knew what to do. That was kind of the point. Because none of us were doing what we needed to be doing. I wasn't stewarding my wife. Me and Pastor Joe were stewarding my wife. I wasn't raising my kids. Me and Pastor Joe were raising my kids. By the way, that's an unfair level of pressure to put on somebody in a leadership position, especially when they have dozens of people, hundreds of people that they are responsible for. The book of James talks about that. My brothers, let not many amongst you be teachers, for you're held to a higher standard. So if he fails to lead us, he's going to pay for that at the end of an age. If I fail to lead you, I'm going to pay for it at the end of an age. If you fail to lead your wife, you're going to pay for it at the end of an age. When every knee bows, when every tongue confesses, when the book of life is open and you are weeping and gnashing your teeth, you will see every single failure you've ever had. Don't let that be one of them. What has it cost? Forget our society. What has it cost men of Elohim that we fail to rise to the occasion? When you see a brother struggling and you do not, go talk to them. Go pray with them. Approach them with the word, the two-edged sword of the word. Yah forbid that man would pass away in that moment. You could have helped, but you didn't, because it was hard, inconvenient, because I'm a pussy, and I just didn't feel like it. For too long, men of Elohim have not shouldered the burden of responsibility. We were made for it. It's our job, literally. And if the Father didn't need us, why did he make us in the first place? And so what has it cost you in your life to not take action, to not take righteous action? The whole reason we are all here today, aside from a mediocre steak sandwich, dude, that place sucks. I don't know why it has such good reviews. It's because we're in Fort Smith, Arkansas. There's nothing here. But the reason we're here, the reason we felt the need to do this in the first place, was because I was fed up with Instagram posts about raped kids bad. And 90% of all the money spent per annum in the United States on anti-human trafficking are spent on awareness. I'm aware there's a problem. I have looked the problem in the eyes, and it's heartbreaking. And so somebody needed to do something about it. And Yah told me to do something about it, because I am somebody. And every one of you is somebody too. Now, I don't know what it is the Father has put on your heart. I don't know what is unequivocal, undeniable you must do in your life. I have to do this. And it is humbling to me that there are hundreds of people here today joining us in the doing of this. Their thank you is completely inadequate. But I would do this anyway, whether you were in this room or not, because if I didn't, the Father would kill me. And I believe that firmly, because I would not be doing the thing that he made me to do. Does that make sense? So every one of you has a reason you were made, a reason you exist. And the cost of inaction, your inability to execute on that divine reason that you exist in the first place, is costing everybody in your life. And if you don't know what that is, I beseech you to hit your knees in prayer and beg the Father to reveal to you your purpose. And then once you have your purpose, walk in it. Stand in the face of adversity. Because we fight not against flesh and blood, but against nations and principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. And none of that shit matters. It is nothing compared to the power of Elohim. The only piece that's missing in that equation. How come evil hasn't been overcome? Because people won't stand up. It's as simple as that. There's somewhere around 17,000 kids per month go missing in the United States, somewhere in that neighborhood. There are ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, has 40,000 beds for illegal detainees. Department of Homeland Security, HSI, has 420 beds for trafficked juveniles in the United States. 1%. It's an enormous problem, and I won't fix it all, but I can fix what the Father puts in front of me. And if 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 other people disaggregated across the country and the world simply refused to tolerate sin in their presence, we wouldn't have these problems. So I don't know what it is that the Father made you for. I can't tell you, and I don't think any of your brothers can either. I think that only comes from the Father. But when you unlock that divine purpose in your life, you are literally unstoppable. Literally unstoppable. We have pulled out rifles and plate carriers in the parking lot of police stations while bad guys chased us while laughing. Like, this shit's about to get weird. Zero fear. Whole bunch of stupidity, zero fear. Do not fear him who can kill the body, but fear him who can destroy the soul. The enemy's nothing. He wants you to think that he's badass, and he micromanages every aspect of your life. He's nothing. It is well within the authority of every person in this room who believes in Messiah to tell that guy to go pound sand that fast. You guys tracking on that? When you feel overcome by the enemy, tell him to go away. It is that easy. I rebuke you in the name of Yeshua Messiah, flee. I'm telling you that because some of y'all are going to need it. You're going to need it within the next 24 hours. I can feel it. Because some of you are going to go home and pray. And the moment you do, it's like trench warfare, man. You stick your head up, and you're going to start taking fire. 50% of all casualties in the Vietnam War, 62,000 dead, 383,000 injured, 50% of them from the neckline and up. Yeah. Cover and concealment is a thing. You pop your head up, now you're a problem. Because thus far, you've been a complacent man who claims to be a son of Elohim. And I could say that because I've been one. That's not your calling. That's a lie that the enemy told you so that you would not be an asset on the battlefield for the Father. So, when you stick your head up for righteousness, the enemy's going to start shooting back at you. I rebuke you in the name of Yeshua, Messiah, flee. Tracking? Okay. Bullet point recap. Sons of Elohim, fearfully and wonderfully made. Very good. Power and authority. The full armor of Yah, to stand in the face of adversity. 4, a ministry of one, because the cost of inaction is too great for you to abdicate the throne of responsibility. Got it? Praise Yah. I'm done.
A couple of questions. Somebody might be like, hey T, what would I do in this situation? Or hey Bob, what would I do in that situation? And I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to maybe ask such a question as that.
Hold on. I'd like to actually do something completely different than that.
Okay.
If you guys would join me in this. Stand up. We're going to talk to the Father. And I don't need a microphone.
speak to them. And brother, if this is you and you are drowning in it right now, I need you to just say this with me. Father, I am busted up. I need help. I cannot do this without you. I need you. And I acknowledge that Yeshua is the Messiah. I want this covering of blood, Father, because I cannot fight this fight on my own anymore. Please be with me. Father, forgive me of my sins. I did not know what I was doing, but I know now. Father, thank you for making a way for me to come home again. And I will walk in your ways to the best of my broken ability. I will accept your rebukes. I will accept your correction with love and joy. Father, please continue to teach me and show me how to walk. Now for everybody else, Father, reveal your will for my life to me. Put me where you need me. Use me as your hands and your feet. Father, whatever you say, I will do. Wherever you need me to go, I will go. Father, equip and empower me. Reveal your will to me, that I might be an asset for you. Father, thank you. Thank you for eternal life. Thank you for the forgiveness and remediation of sin. Thank you for a purpose from the foundation of the world. Thank you for knowing us and loving us even though we don't deserve it. Father, be indwelt in this room. We love you. We praise you. In Yeshua's name. Amen.
Amen.
Does anybody need to be baptized? There we go.